So we have covered the first possible method of treatment, selecting medicines, both from the internal database and from the external sources. The second possibility that we have is we can create medicines on our own, the so-called spectronozodes. A spectronozode is a matrix that we project electromagnetic waves to. Let's try it on the duodenum wall tissue so you understand what we are talking about. The first type of a spectronozode that we can create is a so-called anti-spectronozode. In this case, we select a negative factor, usually a microorganism in the patient's body. We now do it only as an example, as our current patient does not need it, as the coefficients are very high on the Candida albicans, but just as an example for you. So we select the microorganism in group 15, and we go to the spectronozode button. To the left would be the graph of this negative factor of this Candida. Our task is to invert it, so we create a spectronozode which has a totally opposite effect. We press the button inversion of diagram once, and you see here there is a small image that indicates that this is the inverted message. In the lower right corner we can also select what matrix will we use. We can select water, spirits and sugar. These are the three main types for us. We can also do it on paraffin for external use, or we can also create a matched phytocorrector. But we usually don't do it. We usually focus on sugar, sometimes on spirits. The difference between sugar and water is that sugar holds information for up to 2 weeks. Water easily receives information but holds information only of up to 1 day. So now we select sugar. We will put sugar pills in the S camera, in the right camera, and as soon as it is ready we start. The patient's presence is actually not necessary at the moment because we are using recorded information of the microorganism. Now the information begins to be transferred. These numbers give us an idea of how much time it will take. And as soon as it is ready, we'll also have to get a good dosage for this medicine, as it can also force negative effects, as it is not 100% beneficial. For that, we will use external Wegener test using this sugar, this spectronozode, the same way we used the medicines in the previous example, testing them from the N camera. Now it is done, so we move it to the N camera for testing, and we can close this window. We will also test it on the same duodenal wall tissue, as we imagine in this example, as this area has the most concentration. So we name it anti-candida, and we give the dosage. In this case, the dosage will be in globules. We copy it before we start. It is important because the name should be written in the same way. And now we test it on the patient. We see that most probably this dosage will not be good, as lots of stress appear. It indicates that we can try another dosage. We close this window and we go back to the original slice. This one, duodenum wall tissue without any comment. And we continue the same procedure, just changing the dosage and or the time of use. Let's say we will have only one globule in the evening, in the morning. So only one and in the morning. So we are now trying one globule of our newly created spectronazode in the morning. Let us see the results in detail. We press the comparison of survey results button. We press the filter button for selected organ. We select duodenum wall tissue, and we see that one globule in the morning would give an increase of 20% in compensatory reactions. Two globules in the morning, afternoon, and evening would actually give a weakening of 92%. This one we can recommend for the patient, and therefore we will record it into our conclusion. We go to the recommended part. And we copy it. Modifying it. So the final is one globule in the morning. We exit and save changes in the medical conclusion. Another possibility that we have with spectronozodes, before we proceed, it is important that you should put the spectronazode, after you have tested on the patient, in metal foil and give it to the patient. Metal foil will help to prevent loss of information. Now we'll try to create a so-called direct spectronazode. That means a spectronazode of a healthy organ. For this, we go to group 18, spectrograms of healthy organs. We select the organ that we want to help. In our case, we select duodenum. We press the spectronazode button, and you will now see that a healthy organ on the spectrogram on the graph looks quite different. You see the blue and the red lines in the left do not intersect. This is the ideally healthy organ that was recorded in laboratory conditions. This will help the organ to work better. We also select a matrix that we are going to use. In this case, we are using sugar. And we start. For this process, also the presence of the patient himself is not necessary, as we are for now using the data only from the database itself. So we are recording a spectronazode of a healthy organ. So we have put into the S camera sugar in a small plastic bag. In this case, we do not need to find out the exact dosage, as this is always beneficial for the patient. We usually select around 5 globules in the morning, afternoon, and evening. If it would be spirits, then we use 5 drops. If it would be water, then around half a glass of water in the morning and in the evening. These kind of spectronozodes of healthy organs, usually require quite a long treatment period to show good results. We're speaking about months or up to half a year. Now this spectranozode is created, we will not test it for the dosage, we will also wrap it in metal foil and give it to the patient. We will also write it into conclusion. This is it for the spectranozodes.